Hello, creators, dreamers, and future achievers, and welcome back to Stories to Grow. Today, I want you to ask yourself a question, a truly honest question. What if the biggest obstacle standing between you and your dreams isn't a lack of talent, a lack of resources, or a lack of time? What if it's a ghost, an illusion you've been chasing, the illusion of a perfect moment? If you've ever felt stuck, paralyzed by the fear that your work isn't good enough yet, then make sure you're subscribed and stay with us, because today's story is about the monumental, often invisible cost of waiting for perfection. It's the story of a man named Arthur Pembroke and the empire he built only in his mind. Our story begins not in a boardroom or a bustling city, but in a quiet, dusty attic. This attic belonged to Arthur Pembroke. To any observer, it was just a room filled with forgotten things, old furniture draped in white sheets looking like sleeping giants, boxes of faded photographs, and the faint, sweet smell of aging paper and cedar wood. But for Arthur, this attic was a kingdom. It was his sanctuary, and, though he didn't know it yet, his prison. In the center of this room, illuminated by a single, determined sunbeam cutting through the grime of a small circular window, stood a large, ornate wooden desk. On this desk were not one, not two, but dozens of pristine, leather-bound notebooks. Each was filled with the most elegant, precise handwriting imaginable. The pages contained schematics, business plans, marketing strategies, and product designs of breathtaking ingenuity. Arthur wasn't a dreamer with a single idea, he was a symphony of them. His grandest vision, the one he referred to as the Kronos Project, was a revolutionary time management system. It wasn't just an app or a planner. As Arthur envisioned it, it was a holistic life architecture tool designed to help people build their days, weeks, and lives with the same care and precision as an architect designing a cathedral. The idea was brilliant, it was groundbreaking, and for 20 years it existed only in the silent leather-bound pages in his attic. Downstairs, the real world moved on. His wife, Eleanor, a woman whose belief in him was as constant as the northern star, would often call up to him.
Arthur, dear, are you coming down for dinner?
Arthur would blink, pulled from his world of perfect plans. He'd look at his work, a mosaic of charts and projections, and feel a familiar pang of dissatisfaction.
Not yet. The supply chain logistics, they're not quite seamless. The user interface mock-up, it could be more intuitive. It's close, but it's not perfect.
This was Arthur's mantra. It's not perfect yet. It was the shield he used to protect his fragile, brilliant idea from the harsh judgment of the real world. But a shield can also be a cage. The first hidden cost of his quest for perfection was opportunity. In the early days, a young, energetic friend from college, a man named Marcus, had been his biggest cheerleader. Marcus saw the genius in Arthur's early sketches for the Kronos Project. One afternoon, sitting in Arthur's garden, Marcus had leaned in, his eyes wide with excitement.
Artie, this is it. This is the next big thing. We could get seed funding for this tomorrow. I know people. We just need a working prototype. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work.
Arthur had recoiled, almost physically, from the suggestion. The narration describes his reaction. He shook his head, a dismissive gesture that didn't match the anxiety in his eyes.
No, Marcus, not yet. You don't understand. To launch with a prototype would be to compromise the vision. People need to see it in its final, flawless form. First impressions are everything. It has to be perfect.
Marcus argued, pleaded, and finally gave up. A year later, Marcus, tired of waiting, started his own small tech company. It wasn't as revolutionary as Arthur's idea, but it was real. It existed. While Arthur was refining font choices and color palettes for a product that had no users, Marcus was launching, failing, learning, and relaunching. His company stumbled, then it walked, and then it ran. Arthur watched from his attic window as Marcus's success became local news, then national news. He felt a bitter taste in his mouth, a cocktail of envy and a strange, misplaced sense of superiority. He told himself, his product is clumsy, mine will be elegant. His is functional, mine will be a work of art. He failed to see that Marcus was building a real house, brick by imperfect brick, while he was still drafting blueprints for a flawless imaginary castle. The world doesn't pay for blueprints, it pays for houses. The second hidden cost began to accumulate. Time. Time is the most democratic and ruthless resource. It gives everyone the same 24 hours and never offers a refund. For Arthur, years began to blur into a long, monotonous hum of refinement. His children, who once drew crayon pictures on the back of his draft papers in the attic, went off to college. The wrinkles around Eleanor's eyes deepened, etched by years of unwavering and perhaps weary patience. The technology he had based his project on became obsolete, and he had to start over. New programming languages emerged, new hardware platforms were born. Each time, Arthur saw it not as a setback, but as an opportunity.
Thank goodness I didn't launch. Now I can integrate this new tech. It will make the project even more perfect.
He was like a man who wants to cross a river but waits for the water to stop flowing. He didn't understand that the current is the journey. By waiting for perfect conditions, he was ensuring he would never leave the shore. His hair turned from brown to gray. The attic, once his sanctuary, started to feel more like a mausoleum, a tomb for a brilliant idea that had never been allowed to live. The third and most devastating cost was personal. The constant self-imposed pressure took its toll. The joy of creation, the very spark that had ignited the Kronos project, had long since died out. It was replaced by a cold, grinding fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, but most of all, the fear that his creation, if released, would not be seen as the masterpiece he believed it to be. Perfectionism had morphed into a form of profound self-doubt. His high standards were a mask for his terror of being seen. One evening, Eleanor came into the attic. She didn't call from downstairs this time. She walked right in, her steps soft on the old wooden floorboards. She wasn't angry. She looked tired. In her hands, she held a small framed photograph. It was of them two, 20 years younger, standing on a beach, laughing. She placed it on his desk, right next to a perfectly rendered but completely fictional 5-year financial projection.
Do you remember that day, Arthur? You had just told me about your idea. Your eyes were on fire. You told me that in 5 years we'd change the world. You were so alive.
Arthur looked at the photograph. He saw the young man with a full head of hair, a face free of worry lines, a genuine, unbridled smile. He looked at his reflection in the dark screen of his monitor. He saw a stranger, a tired old man in a dusty room.
Arthur, the project is beautiful. I know it is. But I miss my husband. The kids miss their father. You've spent 20 years up here polishing a jewel that you've never let anyone see. Don't you know that even a flawless diamond is worthless if it's kept in the dark?
Her words were not an accusation. They were a lament. a lament for the lost time, for the shared experiences they had sacrificed on the altar of perfect. For the first time, the true cost hit Arthur with the force of a physical blow. He wasn't just losing opportunities or time, he was losing his life. His one precious, imperfect life. He had designed the ultimate time management tool, yet he had mismanaged his own time in the most catastrophic way possible. He had a blueprint to build a life, but he had forgotten to live his own. That night, something in Arthur broke, or perhaps something was finally set free. The next morning, he did not go up to the attic. He made breakfast for Eleanor. He took a walk in the park. He felt the sun on his face, a sensation so simple and real it made him want to weep. He observed the world around him, the uneven cracks in the pavement, the gnarled branches of an old oak tree, the joyful, chaotic mess of children playing. Nothing was perfect, and everything was beautiful. A week later, he took a single notebook from the attic, not the most recent one, but one of the first. He called Marcus. His old friend, now a CEO with a corner office and a view of the city, answered on the second ring. Arthur's voice was hoarse.
Marcus, it's Arthur. I know it's been a long time, but I have an idea. It's not perfect. It's messy and outdated in some ways, but it's a start. Can we get coffee?
The screen can show a visual here, a split screen. On one side, the attic desk, piled high with useless, perfect plans. On the other, Arthur and Marcus sitting in a simple coffee shop, sketching on a napkin. The first real step in 20 years. Did Arthur Pembroke become a billionaire? No. Did the Kronos Project change the world? Not in the way he had originally grandiosely envisioned, but he and Marcus launched a small, simple app based on the core principles of his early work. They called it Day One. It wasn't perfect. It had bugs. The first version got mediocre reviews, but it was real. It helped some people, and with every update, it got a little better. The real victory for Arthur wasn't the app's launch, it was his own.
He was no longer a ghost in an attic. He was a man in the world, participating, creating, and living. He reconnected with his children. He traveled with Eleanor. He experienced the beautiful, messy imperfection of a life fully lived. He finally understood the ultimate hidden cost of waiting for perfection. You trade your one real life for a fantasy that can never exist. You trade the joy of progress for the paralysis of an impossible standard. Arthur's story is a profound and cautionary tale for all of us. Look at your own life. What is your Kronos project? What brilliant idea, what dream, what new beginning are you keeping locked in the attic of your mind, waiting for the perfect moment? Is it starting a business, writing a book, learning an instrument, getting in shape, reaching out to someone you love? The pursuit of excellence is a noble thing, but when it becomes a shield for the fear of taking action, it becomes a poison. The universe does not reward perfection. It rewards participation. It rewards action. It rewards the courage to show up and say, "Here I am. This is what I have. It's not perfect, but it is my start." The cost of waiting is incalculable. It's the opportunities you don't even know you're missing. It's the compounding interest of regret. It's the relationships that wither from neglect. It's the person you could have become who dies a little more each day you choose to wait. So here is your call to action, inspired by Arthur's journey. Today, not tomorrow, take one small, imperfect step towards your goal. Write one messy paragraph. Make one awkward sales call. Do one clumsy workout. Post one piece of content you're not 100% sure about. Let go of the illusion. Embrace the process. Launch your prototype. Live your life. Because the masterpiece is not the finished product. The masterpiece is the courage to begin. Thank you for joining us on Stories to Grow. If Arthur's story resonated with you, please help us spread this message by sharing this video with someone who might need to hear it. And now we want to hear from you. Go to the comments section below and tell us, what is one imperfect action you will commit to taking this week? Let's hold each other accountable and build a community that values progress over perfection. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you can continue to find the strength and inspiration to grow with us. Until next time, be brave, be bold, and begin.